Good afternoon, my brother.
Buenas tardes. How's everybody doing? How are you doing, brother? How's
I'm
everything?
doing great, man.
Yeah.
I got a couple of things for you, but I wanted to ask you first. What's going on your Wednesday? What's going on your week? I know you had a birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, my brother! I saw the
Thank you,
cake,
man.
Dallas Cowboys
Abs-
cake.
Yep.
I saw the Dak Prescott meme from someone. I don't remember who it was from. That was pretty awesome. So I hope you had a great birthday.
It was great, man. It was absolutely great. It was one of the better ones. I was very busy at work, so you never stop working. But thank you to everybody who sent me a congratulatory note. We don't keep getting younger, but it was really fun. And I got to tell you a little secret, man. It's been now 7 years since the Cowboys have lost the game of my birthday week. So 7 years in a row, they've always won. So it's a good trend in my end. I don't care if they go to the playoffs or the Super Bowl, but they gotta win on my birthday week.
That's pretty darn good, and the win on Sunday was pretty epic.
Yeah.
I after the fourth time they turned it over, I we were doing some work at home, and I just almost gave up. I had it on, I was going to leave it on, but I said Tony Romo's not playing, and some of the other guys, I don't know if they can come back from that.
I felt the same, man. I did feel that it wasn't going to happen. That I said, well, that's the end of my streak.
Yeah.
Because how do you come back from a score like that? But it was awesome. Thank you, man, for your well wishes and everybody who sent the well wishes over Facebook. Like I said, it was fun. Went to bed a little bit late, but it's all good and dandy. Whenever your birthday falls on a weekday, sometimes it's difficult, but the wife, the family, everybody, we all did great. Hey, man, speaking of what's been going on, so not this week, but last week, uh, I own a toy poodle, and
Hmm.
we took him to the groomers,
Yeah.
and he got in a fight with somehow
With a
some
pit bull.
way these these groomers managed to put him inside the bathing tub or whatever with another dog about three
Yeah.
times his weight. It's about 40, 45 pounds. Mine's 22, 23 pounds. At any rate, it was bad, man. But he's okay now. He's up and running, and he's back to being healthy after a long list of medications. But the
Yeah.
point I wanted to bring up, man, is so we went to the emergency vet, or
Hmm.
whatever you call it, right? And so we had to wait about an hour and a half, but once it was so they took him in right away because obviously it was an emergency. But what I'm saying is that while we were waiting outside for an hour and a half, they checked him, they took blood work, they did X-rays, they fixed up his bruises and his cuts,
COVID
they did
19.
medication. Yeah, we had to be out in the car. We couldn't be inside the lobby, but
No, I'm talking about testing him for COVID
oh,
19.
maybe I don't know. They did all that in an hour and a half, man. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering, man. So if this is possible with animals, why isn't this possible when I go see the doctor?
Because we
You
love
know what
our
I mean?
pets more. Yeah, we love our pets more than we love our ourselves or people. I can promise you that. People stop in the middle of a highway to save a dog, and if you were out there in the middle of under a car, people would keep driving by.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just the way it is. But I'm glad he's healing. Let's say because I saw some pictures. This
yeah.
is this is not the first battle he's been through.
Nope.
That guy's a warrior.
It's not his first rodeo with injuries. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, he's up and running. But I was like, man, next time I go, I had well, knock on wood. I hope I don't have to, but I hope I can get in there in an hour and a half. With meds, X-rays, blood work, everything. I mean, you get all the results. It was great to see, and they did a good job. They really did.
Well, two quick things before we welcome our guest. One, we are back into high school football, at least in the 6A division, and guess what booth I will be a part of. Let's see if you can see that there, the Great Lamar High School. And guess where the first game is tomorrow night?
Uh-huh.
It will
It's
be at the
gonna be
old.
at Jerry's World.
No, it's going to be at the old
Oh,
Rangers Stadium, which I still can't remember if it's Globe Life or Globe Field, but I think it's Globe Life.
uh-huh,
Um,
uh-huh.
so we will be. It's going to be kind of weird. We're going to be in the corner where the normal press box is, right? Behind home plate. But this is football, so we'll see how it
Uh,
goes.
Dang, man,
Um,
you're moving up in the world. That's
well,
awesome.
I
Congratulations.
guys that are I'm just gonna be helping. The guys that are the professionals are gonna be teaching me, but I'm gonna help them spot and do things like that, and then hopefully call a halftime show. But we'll see. But I'm just excited to be back up there. You know what I mean? That's one of my favorite places in the world. Um,
Absolutely.
the other thing is, I have a good friend, Phil Sellers, who owns our dry cleaners, Oaks Cleaners, where we go, where Aitana works, and he gave me a ton of bobbleheads. I want you to guess which bobblehead, and some of them are headed your way, but I want you to guess which bobblehead he gave me. You won't be able to guess.
Oh man, it's all mix of sports or just baseball or
No,
football or
baseball. I'm sorry, just Rangers.
oh baseball. Is it a Valenzuela bobblehead?
Think of the largest free agent contract that was given
It's
in Rangers.
it's an A-Rod bobblehead.
It is an A-Rod
Hmm.
bobblehead.
Does
It
it
looks
include?
nothing like him. I think bobbleheads have come a long way, but it
Yeah,
does say something on the back. But we're not Rod fans, but that's a pretty amazing piece to have an A Rod bobblehead now.
that's awesome.
So
Does it? Yeah.
and there's others vintage players and things like that. But um, anyway, so let's welcome. Go ahead and welcome our let's welcome people into the club.
Yeah, absolutely. So, welcome everybody this evening to our podcast. As everybody has heard in the past, so a long time ago, my brother and I, we were told by friends, some acquaintances that we know, that for every problem you should always find an opportunity. And a few months ago, that didn't quite hit the way you hear it. Or understand it, but along the way we've really understood this, and we really wanted to make a podcast out of that. And now with our COVID-19 quarantine situation, I think it was a perfect time to do this. And every week we invite our guests in here so that they can they can talk about a little bit about what they're doing, and how to potentially see some of this into fruition. So some of the problems and some of the things, and then if anybody could just take maybe a golden nugget out of our daily chats, that's all we ask for. My brother and I get on here every week. We get very excited to talk about it, and to talk to our guest, and we welcome anybody that's listening or viewing us tonight to submit your questions or comments. We welcome them. So with that,
My name is Javier, and we are Problems.
and my name is Jorge, and opportunities.
I am really, really excited. Of course, we're always excited to welcome our guest, but today is a special one because our guest tonight has become she's a very enthusiastic and intelligent young lady, and she happens to be our second cousin officially, but she calls us tios because her parents are her first cousins. So that's kind of how that works. But I have known her well, we have known her entire life. We've seen her grow up. We've seen her accomplish, develop, and everything like that. I know for a fact she's had a Disney internship. I know she's been in Washington, D.C. for another internship. I know she's had a lot of exceptional opportunities. A graduate of UT El Paso already with her undergraduate in marketing, I believe, in business, working currently on an MBA. Let's welcome Crystal Saavedra tonight.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Tios. Thank you for inviting me onto this podcast here today. I really
It's
appreciate
awesome to have you, Crystal.
Yeah, we are really excited to have you, Crystal. Talk about yourself, and then especially talk about the organization that we're going to be talking about today, which has a very unique name. But I think by the end of the show, people will understand. And I got to be honest, when I saw your mom and your sisters wearing the shirt, I thought you guys had just made a cool shirt, that they were wearing. But it turns out that from that, I made I sent you a question, I sent you a text, and here we are. So we're really excited about talking about that. But let's start out with you. Let's start out with tell us about you, your education, your experiences, and how that got you to the organization.
Absolutely. So I am born and raised from El Paso, Texas, and I went to Socorro High School, where actually you both went to Socorro High School too. So we're all Bulldogs here. And
Yay!
yes. And so from after high school, went straight into UTEP. My freshman year, right out the gate, being the enthusiastic person that I am, applied for an internship at Disney World. And that really that enthusiasm came from when I was in middle school, when I was in high school, that inspiration that I get from my parents, which you all know, they pushed, I have two other sisters, so they pushed us our entire lives to reach for the stars, go for whatever we wanted, whatever dreams that we had. They told us, you can do it, you set your mind to it. And so that's where the inspiration to get out of El Paso and try to explore started. And that's where I ended up in Disney, and I did an internship out there for 9 months. And I was able to work at the Disney Animal Kingdom, where I did outdoor food and beverage, which I highly recommend for anyone that is trying to do maybe their first job, is to get out there and do a tough job like that. It was fun, but it definitely opened my eyes to the working world. And I was very humbled by that experience.
The Disney, I'm sorry, the Disney internship, because a lot of people can't really capture that. I know my girls do. I know they know what it's all about. But it's not something you just kind of decide one day to do, right? It's a pretty big honor to be able to do that, right?
Yes. So it was actually through a presentation that was done in one of our required freshman courses. Some individuals had come and made a presentation. And of course, I'm a Disney fanatic. My family are Disney fanatics. And so I knew that's where I wanted to go. But it is a long process. I had to do a long application and then several interviews, phone interviews. So they can decide where you were going to be placed. And then from there, you have to actually move to Florida, where I was placed in Florida. So picked up everything and moved out there with roommates that you've never met before. So it was a great life experience to get out there. Never had roommates before, and especially individuals from all over the country, which was very special. That experience was very special, to be able to live and work with all these different people that you never met before.
Yeah. How old were you?
I was 19.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was 19, so I was a typical teenager wanting to just leave the house, leave El Paso. But little did I know I was going to get a very humbling real world experience out there.
Absolutely. And then you go to Washington, D.C. Tell us about that.
Yes. So when I came back from Disney, I actually was finding ways just to get back involved in the university. I only had one semester in, so I wasn't too experienced with student organizations. So I started joining student organizations, and one of them was Delta Sigma Pi, which was a business fraternity within the College of Business at UTEP. And there I was connected with some other, what we call them our brothers. And I connected with a brother there, and she connected me with a professor and said, there's this awesome internship through the UT system, and only 40 students get selected in the state of Texas, and I think you should check it out. And I did, and luckily this professor took me under his wing, and for that semester, it was in 2013, the fall of 2013, I was one of 40 students in the state of Texas selected to do what they call the Bill Archer Fellowship Program in Washington, D.C. At that time, once you get accepted to the fellowship, that's when you decide which internship you want to do. And the internship that I, of course, chose was the White House. And that was also another lengthy process. And so both the fellowship and the internship were both very lengthy processes. You have to develop policy papers. You have to go through a panel interview. You have to develop a very lengthy application. And so that's how I ended up at the White House. That was the internship I chose. And I was one of 10, I believe, Texans that were chosen to intern at the White House during that semester as well. So I was very fortunate to be selected both in the fellowship and then to work in the White House in that semester.
So, Crystal, you expanded your wings per se, both to right off the bat, right off the gates at a very young age, going to your Walt Disney internship, and then to Washington, and overall, how long were you gone for from home?
From the
From
Disney or
from Disney all the way through past Washington.
oh, okay. So I actually got to come home in between the Disney and the Washington fellowship, and so I was gone for 9 months, and then I got to come back, got to stay home for about a year or two, and then that's when I left again for another 5 months, where I got to live in Washington D.C.
Okay, so it is quite a the time that you did it for. So the point I'm trying to get to is that it wasn't your typical I'm just going to leave home to like NMSU or even to state in Texas to Dallas or Houston or San Antonio. So in your experience, what can you tell us was the first problem you weren't expecting that really, really, turn your perspective and just, got that going for you to where you're like, okay, maybe isn't what I was expecting, but this is how I'm going to tackle it and make myself better.
Yes. So definitely in Washington, D.C. I did not know what I was walking into. You have some of the brightest minds coming out of UT Austin, UT Dallas. And so little me from El Paso was coming out and being ranked with these other 39 individuals, which was I was very blessed. But I knew I needed to find my voice very quickly. That was, I guess you could call one of the problems that I recognized very quickly in DC. I had never navigated Washington, D.C. on my own either. So that was very new to me. So I just knew I had to become even more independent than I already was. And I knew I needed to be very open to meeting individuals, seeking assistance, speaking up, and making my voice heard anywhere that I went in Washington, D.C. In D.C., there's no room for or no time to stay quiet or think about things. You have to move very quickly. It's a very moving city. And that's where I quickly realized, okay, this is what I need to do. And I think that's where I really got inspired of what I do now with the organization that we're going to be talking about. That's where I really got inspired to do public service. And I knew I wanted to come back to El Paso and make something here that could inspire other women that may be like me here, just still in El Paso, and just have that itch to want to do something else for their community and for themselves.
Yeah, and I have one question about your Washington D.C. time. Did you go into the Oval Office?
Yes, I did. I was very fortunate. So I worked in the management administration office when I was there. So it's actually, so it is the White House. We work in the building one street across from the West Wing, and very fortunate to have a boss that did walk me through the West Wing, the residence, and the East Wing. And when I did see the Oval, I was actually able to take my family. My parents and my sisters, they were able to see the entire West Wing, a private tour for them for the very first time. So that was a very proud moment for me.
I bet because we had, and I'm speaking of me and my family. We had an opportunity to visit DC in a similar situation, and we didn't, and I really regret it because, like you say, you we could have experienced a lot of different things together, a lot of different historical things, in the nation's capital there. Some of the, I left El Paso as well. I didn't go back like you did, but some of the smaller things become great. Some of the simple things, and I really admire you. I mean, you went from El Paso to way far in the East Coast in Florida, and then a little bit later up to the nation's capital. What are some of the smaller things that you really missed? For people that are thinking about, oh my gosh, how did she ever do that? What are the small things that you really miss about being at home?
The one thing that I missed the most was just my togetherness with my family, and being able to. The big thing is for us, we really have tried to do dinners together, and just even if it's hanging out by the pool. Our parents always try really hard to have the whole family together whenever we can. And I do remember even growing up, my mom and dad would always say, cherish these moments because they're not going to be here forever. And they were right. We didn't believe them at the time, and they were absolutely right. And that's probably what I missed most in a way, was missing out on just those small dinners or lunches or hanging out in the backyard with the dogs. Those were the moments that I missed the most. And that's what made it a little bit difficult being away, especially the holidays, because we do. In my family, we make them a pretty big deal, and we make it a point to go all out for whether it's Mother's Day or Father's Day or 4th of July. So that was what I missed the most.
So, and I think a lot of that is very important. I'm talking about your parents supporting you in what decisions you wanted to make. I think sometimes, I've got now two teenage kids in high school, so I'm getting to that point where they're going to start making those decisions, and it's very critical, to support. We might not want them to fly away, especially that far, but we do have to remind them of what's out there, what is not out there, and the importance of family. So it's great. It's really good to hear that. Crystal, so now that we've heard more about your experiences and your bio here, let's dig a little more into your organization, your Mija Yes You Can. And I got to tell you, I really love that name. It's very cultural, provides diversity, and it's very, very, very attracting. Like my brother said at the beginning of the podcast, when we saw it, in your t-shirt, we didn't even know what it was. But because we saw it, it attracted us. And then, so we asked more questions, we contacted you, and again, here we are, right? So kudos to you and your team for coming up with that name. Before I ask you some questions, I've got some questions for you. I'm actually going to read the mission statement for our viewers, because I think it's important that everybody really gets a good grasp of what this organization is all about. But so their mission statement of Mija Yes You Can, a community organization created by women for women to provide a platform that allows all women to come together to learn from each other, relate to each other, and achieve their ambitions in life. So I think, the emphasis in women and really saying, you can do it, whatever you set your mind to, doesn't matter, whether you're a gal, you're a guy, you're here, you're there, you leave, you never leave, you stay in El Paso, you've gone to college, you haven't, you can do it. That's how I feel when I read your mission statement, and I see your what you all have been doing, and I went into your website to dig a little more into your partners and the organization and things like that, and I think you all are doing great. But first, tell me a little bit about how you came up with that name, and then a little bit more about the organization.
Absolutely. So Mija Yes You Can is fairly new. We actually just started on March 8th, was launched on International Women's Day, and it was launched by our founder, Iris Lopez. And so she's actually part of what we call our Jefa Mija. And so that saying came from pretty much like our culture and everything that we represent as far as empowering other women. We always, I guess, we grow up and you tell you, Mija, yes, you can, or Mijo. And so when she was creating that and was thinking about what to call it, her coworkers are the ones who pretty much said, you're always telling us, Mija, Mijo, yes, you can do it. So why not call it that? And so that's where it really originated from. And going further into creating and now cultivating the Mija Yes You Can mission, I think it's exactly what we wanted to portray, which was empowering all women out there. And so there is a reason why it is in Spanish and in English, because we are not just for Hispanic or Latina women. We want to encourage all women of all ethnicities to come to our organization and look for resources and to use us as a resource and be able to help them. So we don't want to just channel it only to Hispanic women. So that's where the Mija Yes You Can came from. Like I said, to empower women, and then also just so we can open it up to all women out there.
That's awesome. And then what is your role? What is your role in the organization, Crystal?
So my role right now is president, head of organizational development, and project manager.
Okay. And then your team, if you want to introduce your team as well in the organization.
Yes. So my team, our Jefa Mijas consists of 3 of us. So like I said, I'm the president, and then Iris Lopez is the founder, and she's our social media guru, communication strategist. So she's has all that background. And then our third Jefa Mija, which is our vice president, is Shelby Montgomery. And she also has a lot of the communication side and helps out with the creative side as well.
Sounds like you have a lot of good experience and a lot of good support there. Um, if people who are listening to this, we've been involved in a lot of organizations like this to help and support and to empower different things. If you were speaking to a group of young ladies, maybe your age in college or maybe younger in high school, well, how would you introduce this organization to them?
So I would introduce it as a platform to want to empower them. I would first definitely see what is your goal, what is your dream, what is your ambition, and let them know that that's what we're here for. We're a platform that wants to push them up to whatever it is that their dream may be, but we're also here to help as a resource. So one of our main goals in Mija Yes You Can is to ultimately provide scholarships and provide workshops and provide other resources. And it doesn't have to be just going to school. And like I mentioned, it's for women of all ages. It can be any ambition that they have. And so any woman out there that is looking for that extra push for whatever that is that they're looking to do, but also maybe there are Mijas out there who want to bring up these other women who may not have those resources. So I would encourage them to reach out to us and let us know so we can partner up with you and we can use whatever resources that you may have and be able to bring up other Mijas. So it's all about bringing up as many women as we can to achieve whatever goal it is they have in their heart. And that's what we want to do. And that's what I would encourage anybody who has that passion in their heart to empower other women, lift other women up in their community, in the country, to reach out to us and join us as we continue to grow and continue to use our platform for those purposes.
Crystal, one of the things I found in doing a lot of work like you're doing, because by the way, that's quite frankly maybe the best work you'll ever do. You'll have a career, you'll have a lot of things, but doing exactly that, in my experience, has been some of the best work we've done. And when you start out with an idea or maybe a purpose, you really never know where it goes, and then it kind of starts telling you where it needs to go, and that's what's fascinating about, to me, that's what's fascinating about groups like this, because when I saw it. And when I saw what it is, and your mission statement and the opportunities to to contribute to sponsors, but then my brain started going, in different places. Can we have opportunities for young ladies to maybe who never understood industries such as insurance or real estate or different things? You never know where this is going to go, and that is one thing that I will tell you, to always be looking, and I'm sure you do, but always be looking in different ways. Because you just never know where it's going to go. For the purpose of the organization. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And I definitely, and I also want to mention that it's not just for the Mijas that we want them to reach out. We also encourage men, which we call our supporting mijos, if they want to reach out and they have those resources that they want to help educate other women and lift women up. That's exactly what we want. So don't be mistaken by just the Mija part. We definitely have a lot of support in mijos that have actually, even in growing this in the last 6 months, there have been a lot of individuals who have reached out and offered their assistance, whether it be helping us with create on the creative side or just showing up to support and just buying shirts. Then we appreciate all of that support that both the Mijas and the mijos give.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say if mijos were allowed in your organization, because I think it's great the way you have it set up and how it's specific for mijas. But we were talking a little bit off air before we started on the program about I'm personally excited to somehow, some way provide and support your organization, whether it's through my business of real estate or personally, because I think it's a wonderful wonderful thing for both, women and our community. So again, just like my brother said, great job. So if I'm Crystal, if I'm a business owner or just a person who wants to either join your organization or B, support the organization, what's that process look like?
So right now we are actually looking for anybody that would like to join the board. And I go back to the same thing. It's not just for women. So any mijos out there who are interested, we are looking for volunteers and for board members because we're growing. We're still in the growing phase. And you can either email us to our email, which is themijas@mijayesyoucan.org, or you can go to our website, which is scrolling here at the bottom. And on there as well, it'll give you a button to contact, and that's where you'll send in your request to either get involved as a volunteer, you can get involved as a sponsor, or get involved as a board member. And we'll get those contacts, and then we will actually reach out back to you. We have a form that we have everybody filling out just to help us keep track of everyone that is submitting. And from there, we're gonna start building. So that's how you can get a hold of us.
Awesome. So I want to remind everybody that this is 100% nonprofit. But if you donate, can you kind of go over that again? What happens to these donations?
Yes. So we've actually, in the 6 months that we've existed, we've been able to use a lot of the donations, and anyone who has bought a shirt, those proceeds have actually gone to several other nonprofits that we've partnered up with. And so early on in the creation of Mija Yes You Can, Estela Casas did develop the UMC COVID Compassion Fund, and we were able to donate about $400 through just individuals who bought the Mija Yes You Can shirt. And then a couple months after that, the funds also went to Gigi's Playhouse, which is a nonprofit for children with Down syndrome. And most recently, we were able to do a $300 donation, as well as lots of school supplies, to the Center for Sexual and Family Violence. And we were able to help support the women and children in that group. So we have been able to do a lot in 6 months, thankfully, to all of the donors and all the individuals who have bought shirts out there. So anyone who is buying shirts or sending in donations, that's what we have been using the funds for, and we'll continue to do so going forward.
Crystal, one of the things that we have done in the groups that I've been a part of is we've explored grants. Grants is a little more involved process because when you do fundraisers of various kinds, and I'm sure you guys do them, you're out in the community. Well, maybe not so much now, but we'll get to a point where you're back out in the community. You're talking to people about what you do, your social media, etc. But one of the most successful fundraising events that we've had with the groups I've been involved with before was grants, and we can talk a little more about that. But it is an amazingly, I don't want to say easy, but it's an amazingly game changer for any organization like yours, because we're talking about huge corporations that have literally, lots of money, the foundations that are looking for groups just like you. Have you guys looked at any grants yet?
We actually have not explored that route yet. We are definitely aware of that opportunity, and we just haven't gotten there yet. So if there's any mijas or mijos out there with grant writing experience, contact us. We definitely would love the help with that.
Well, I'll sign up to be the old mijo or uncle or whatever you want to call me. I'm glad to help you guys with that, because we've done it, in groups that I've been involved with, and we've had, I'm telling you, it's a game changer where, one grant can completely change the whole scope of what you're doing. Chris, I wanted to ask you real quick, because I think it's significant. We're in the middle of honoring Justice Ginsburg's memory at the moment. She passed away a couple of days ago, and what message does a group like you, or even yourself, who was in Washington D.C., send out to the ladies who are watching this, about someone as impactful as she was?
Yes, so Justice Ginsburg was definitely someone that I looked up to. And when I was in Washington, D.C., I was blessed with the opportunity to get a private tour of the Supreme Court. I didn't unfortunately get to meet her. She wasn't in her quarters then, but I was able to get very near her office, and I was able to see where her and the other 9 Supreme Court justices sit. And so she is very very empowering and very inspirational. And I actually just saw her documentary on Hulu. If anybody wants to check it out and be inspired, I would definitely check that out. And two things that actually stood out from there were two quotes that she said, and that I take on with my life, and I would hope that many women could maybe be inspired by it. And one of them was, she wrote them down. One of them was a quote from her mother, and her mother always told her to be a lady. But what she meant by that was to be her own person and to be independent. And that resonated with me extremely. It was very powerful because that reminded me of my mom, I think, and my dad. And they've always told me, no matter what you do, and be independent, take care of yourself, get an education. And so that's the big message that I would take from Justice Ginsburg, and I hope many women would for their lives. Because for my life, that's the way that I've always seen it is be smart, be educated, and be your own person and be true to yourself. And that's the one message that I would want to spread to all women out there. Follow your dreams, whatever it is, go for them. Don't be afraid, and just always stay true to yourself.
It's well known that she was good friends with Justice Scalia, which was on the complete opposite, polar opposite of her of her side, so to speak. I'm looking at my bookshelf because I know I got his book here, but it was well known that they were very good friends. They shared a lot of time together, vacations and things like that. We are in a world that's very polarized and divided right now. I'm curious what you could say, someone in your generation, to that kind of respect. A friendly respect for we can agree to disagree kind of thing in the highest court in this country, while yet being really truly close friends, outside of work, so to speak. What one message do you have for from your generation for that?
So we definitely live in a generation where um, people can be on very opposite ends, and I have individuals in my own personal circle that are on very different ends of the way that I may think, or the way I may um, follow, whether it's politically or just in life. But I've actually found that those are some of my closest friends, because we are able to come to the table. Because I think at the end of the day, as an individual, if you know what your morals are, what you have decided, the path that you've chosen, and you fight for that, and you continue to make that the center of what your mission is, whatever that may be, just continue to lead in an authentic way. I think at the end of the day is to be authentic, not to try to please what other people want you to be, or who people want you to be, or what people want you to say. I think the best message I can give to this generation is be authentic to yourself. Choose what your morals are going to be, and when you choose what you're going to fight for, stay true to that, and lead in a way that others will want to join you.
Crystal, authenticity is very big, regardless of your organization, your industry, what you do for a living. I think that's huge, especially right now with all going on. I mean, we don't even have to talk about it, right? But with this ongoing pandemic for almost 7 months now, and just people, a lot of unknowns, right? And again, off air, we talked about this. That the reason why my brother and I have this is because you want to spend some time viewers out there, so that we can really relay a message, or share something, share a golden nugget that everybody can have, so that they can take away and hopefully turn that, some or a lot of the problems that we're facing in today. So you've actually given us a lot of great points here at the end, but we always like to end our show with our guests sharing maybe one, maybe two crystal points that everybody can take back and say, wow, I really learned something good from this podcast. So if you could share one or two things, what would that be as advice to our viewers?
I think the first one would be going back to just being true to yourself. If you have a dream, I'm going to say follow it, and don't be scared. Don't be scared to, whether it's leaving home, or taking that job, or applying for a job, or buying that new house, or whatever it may be. just don't be afraid, especially all of my females out there. Don't be afraid what's on the other side. Whatever it is, you can handle it. And I know you can. That's me saying that. There will be obstacles, there will be problems, but you will always find an opportunity at the end of it. You will always find that you were placed in whatever situation at that moment for a reason, and that's the biggest takeaway that I can give to all of the viewers out there. Trust yourself, and trust that you're in the right spot in whatever it may be in that time of your life.
Crystal, what
Crystal,
would you say? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just to add to your comment, I heard something recently from a great podcast. The man said, and he's an attorney. He said, "Fail trying, don't fail watching." Simple words, but you just said it. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be. I mean, you went from from our little community of Socorro. Go Bulldogs, right? But then you go to Florida for people don't even know that those internships exist, and here you are in the middle of one of the most recognizable brands in the world, Disney. And then you come back and you continue your education. And here you go to Washington D.C. You've been in the Oval Office. You've been in, and then all of that is now coming together. With this organization that I think is fascinating. That I know my brother and I will support in some way. And then like I said, if we can be uncles and support and give you ideas, we will. So it's very important that you fail trying and not fail watching.
If I could add one more thing to that, is for anyone watching that may have this little itch or dream in them. I've had this dream to create something like Mija, Yes You Can. I've had this dream since 2013. That was almost seven years ago. This dream has just been growing and growing. And so don't give up on it. If you have that little itch and that little dream, just start chipping away at it. Start figuring it out. It took me 7 years to finally get here, and I'm very blessed, and I'm blessed for the journey. So whatever it is, don't give up on it, and don't put a timeline on it. Just continue to believe in yourself.
Well, brother, I agree with you. We will support Crystal 100%, but you can't come as an uncle. You got to come in as a mijo. Can't change it up. All right. So I just wanted to put that out there. Crystal, we've always thought the world about you. I think, you're an excellent, bright young lady. You've done a ton. I have one more question for you. As you were getting ready to depart to Florida, to go on your adventure in this internship, because Walt Disney, obviously, it's a very well-known brand. A lot of other industries use it as an example of what customer service should be and is. And it's my understanding, and it's not very easy to get a job there. But I also know that you are required to smile at all day, every day, and that everybody picks up a piece of trash in everything that's Walt Disney related. That will always stick with me. I went to a seminar once, and that's always going to stick with me. But what was your number one fear as you were getting ready to go over there?
My number one fear was leaving my family. I think that was my number one fear, and maybe not knowing what I was getting myself into. I can distinctly remember getting there and getting to the apartment complex, and the check-in process was literally, those two girls that just passed you, the two girls behind you, those are your roommates. Good luck. And so that was my biggest fear, was just, how am I going to live with these strangers? How am I going to get around? I'm 19 years old. I don't know I've never had a real job. And my parents are just here to drop me off, and they're about to leave. So that was probably my biggest fear. But like I said, you get over it, and you tackle it, and you trust yourself. And I did. And I had an amazing 9 months there.
One day at a time. That's
Absolutely.
really the only way you can do it, one day at a time. And because I know your parents cried all the way back, the 1,600 miles to El Paso, or whatever it is. I know.
Yes.
So, I probably will be doing that one day myself. But yeah, one day at a time.
Crystal, again, we want to thank you. We know that everybody's time is very valuable. But I know, and so is yours. But thank you so much for being with us today. We loved having you and getting to know you a little bit more personally, and also about your, Mija Yes You Can organization. We will absolutely going to support you 1,000%. We will be there and see how we can expand and grow. I'm very excited about it, and you and your team. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. I really appreciate it.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Crystal. Lots of really good stuff. And yes, we will continue to spread the good word of Mija. Yes, you can, because we both can help in some way. So, and we want to thank our audience too for being with us. Again, we're respectful of everybody's time. We started a little late and we went a little late, but that's okay because this was a good time and a good opportunity to learn about something that perhaps a lot of people did not know. We thought it was a T-shirt. It turns out to be something that I think is going to be pretty spectacular. So, for my brother, this is Problems.
And for my brother, and Opportunities. Thank you, everybody.